that's what I felt like when I found stand up. I was like, this is how I was supposed to feel. They just didn't have my subject in school
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
I want to learn everything about this thing. I want to do all the homework. Like, this is what it is.
How to survive the classroom.
Hey, teacher besties. I am so excited to share with you that my book, They Never Taught Us That, is available right now. It is everything an experienced or first-year teacher needs to manage the chaos of a modern classroom, including some anecdotes to make you feel a little bit better, because if there is a way that you can screw up, I've probably done it. It also has advice on how to build trust with families, how to manage grading and lesson plans and IEPs, and everything else that they never went over in your teacher prep program. They Never Taught Us That is available everywhere right now. Hey, teacher besties. Welcome to How to Survive the Classroom. I am Andrea Forgum.
I'm Gerry Patoka.
And today we have a guest with us. We have Stephen Rogers with us. Stephen, thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having me, guys. I'm excited.
Yeah, and you are like a big deal. Like you tour like in big places that scare me a lot to do comedy in.
Oh,
So
wow.
like very big. Guys, if you are not familiar with Stephen Rogers, he tours with like some of the biggest names and headlines his own shows and all of that. He's hanging out with like Nate Bargatze. He produced your special, right?
Yes, he did. Yeah. Brian Regan and Nate produced it. It was awesome.
That is so cool. So can you share a little bit about how long you've been in comedy and how you got into it?
Yeah. I've been doing it 13 years. Um, I'm from Syracuse, New York originally, so I started up there. There's a Funny Bone up there, and right around the time the club started, opened is when I was doing just started doing comedy. So I would do a bunch of mics or spots at that club because they needed locals. So I kind of took advantage of them needing people. And then I would drive, like where I'm from is a small scene, so I'd have to drive 2 hours to Albany, 2 hours to Buffalo, Rochester, Binghamton. And so I was sort of a road guy just doing local spots. Um, and did it for like 4 years. And then Brian Regan and I linked up, and he started taking me on the road with him. And then I saved up enough to move to New York where I live now.
Okay. So I gotta know, what was broken that made you think I should go and do stand-up comedy? I should go stand in front of strangers who like haven't heard of me, don't care about my jokes, and try and make them laugh against their will.
It's the best way I've ever been asked that. That's great. uh, I will say what's broken is how I don't know what it is exactly. It's not my parents' fault. Uh, they're amazing. So I think it's unfortunately a profound obsession with the art of it. I
Mm.
found it pretty early. My parents showed me this thing, and it was like literally like Wendy Liebman was the first stand up that really like I remember it was her half hour on HBO, and she was like performing magic to and from my eyes because she was making people on the other side of a TV screen laugh. Like my parents were in the room, they're laughing. I'm like, they're not even in the same room as this woman. And it was
Yeah.
just like, what the heck is this? How are they doing this? And then I just ingested it like just like candy. And
Yeah.
I remember being in my elementary school class and we had computers and it showed, I'm pretty sure it's when Dangerfield passed away, and I, like, teared up in my classroom and no one else knew what the heck you know what I mean? It was like
Yeah.
Yahoo News or whatever it was, and it had, like, the
Right.
banner, and it just showed Dangerfield died, and then it swiped over to, like, the new Aladdin's out or something. Uh, that can't be right, chronologically, but, uh and, just, like, having this huge effect on me where it just wasn't on as much, to everybody else.
So the first time you did comedy, when's that moment where you were like, okay, I can do this? Because you are in a very, very small group of humans that attempt comedy and are actually able to like make a living out of it. And especially in New York City. I I don't think I've ever I've told anyone this on the podcast. I booked a show and I've even like talked about it on here that I booked a show in New York City and I had to cancel it because I had like I can host a show in Terre Haute, Indiana. I got like 150 people to come to it. I booked my show in New York City, one of the biggest cities in the world. I couldn't get more than a dozen people to buy a ticket because there's so many comedy giants in that city.
Andrea, I don't know if this is divine intervention or whatever the right wording is. I had to cancel my show tonight in New York City for the
No.
same exact reason. So it's uh it's very hard in New
Yeah,
York. And what the good news about it is you have people like ourselves where you're like, you're not alone. This is a very hard place to do it.
yeah,
But what is great about it is the same thing that stinks. It's very hard. But like you come here, you do spots and you get better. You really get better. I'm not saying
yeah,
it's unique to New York City, but it is a place where that is easy for it to happen. Uh,
yeah.
I'm theoretically recording my special in December here, and definitely not the same venue.
I was gonna
Uh,
say different venue, hopefully.
yeah, but it's and I'm straying away from your question on the fact that we just developed a very fast kinship, but it's hard here, but, that's because New York has so many other options, not even comedy. The Knicks are doing wonderful right now. They're not playing today, so I can't blame them. But,
Right.
like, it's so easy to complain if you wanna go that route of, in comedy. Everyone has to blow off steam, but I look at when people are blasting off online about this or that in comedy that's unjust to them, and it's like, when you signed up to do comedy, did you think that it was going to be fair? Like,
Yeah,
we're supposed to be beaten up so that we actually, appreciate when we have the wins. This
yeah,
is not an easy thing. Like, it's hard enough to do the thing. People don't talk about how hard it is to continuously get people to come to your shows and all that stuff. But it's
yeah.
always worth the struggle. And that's why I'm broken because I'm getting so many signs that I should stop. And I refuse to listen to any of them.
I totally get that. Jerry, I didn't wanna I know Jerry came with, like, actually very prepared questions, so I don't wanna yap over Jerry. Did you have one of your questions you wanted to ask
I
before I get to my next
I
one?
feel like we covered most of
No, I
my
covered him
prepared questions.
immediately.
No, but yeah, Steve, I've told you before. I've told pretty much anyone who asks who I'm a fan of. I'm a big Steven Rogers fan. Like I'm a
Uh, Thank you.
yeah,
I don't know how to handle that.
not that don't handle it. Just but just take it. That's nicer than anything I probably said to Andrea, and she
For
kind of
sure,
annoys me. So
for sure.
Yeah.
The so much is isn't it actually insane though? Like we work on the business of people's attention and like our currency is people's attention and people liking us, but God forbid anyone tell us to our face that they like us or they think
right,
that our content is good or anything. Like there is nothing worse to me than someone being like, "Wow, like I just really admire you for what you do." And I'm like,
Yeah,
"Please stop. Please, please
I
never say
know.
that to me ever."
Jerry just gave me everything I ever wanted, and I'm like,
You really don't though, actually. Like
And Jerry, that means a lot, and I'm sure I had the same reaction when I saw you in North Carolina. And it means a lot when, especially when it's a comic that's funny, like like when a comedian thinks you're gives you a compliment. We're in the rooms when comedians are talking about what they really think about people in the other way. So it's always nice to hear that
Yes.
version. So thank you. That means a lot.
Oh yeah.
Definitely needed it today, and I'd like a recording of just that line sent to me. Oh, actually, it's on my phone, so we'll be fine.
Perfect.
There you go. You can make it your ringtone. You get a text, and it's just like, Steven, you're the man.
And then it's the venue going, "Hey, we got to reschedule." Let me preface that I'm joking. I'm very fortunate. I do headline all that blah blah blah, but I think it's important to. I could have easily ignored that you being vulnerable about your show, which I almost came to your show, by the way.
Wait, really?
I saw you were coming to New York. Kanal Aurora, who's a friend of mine, was
Yeah.
sharing you, and I was like, oh, I think I could swing by that show, but it might have. And now I know why I got
Well, maybe you
lost
should
in
have bought
the.
a ticket, Steven, huh? Maybe then I wouldn't have had to cancel my show. If
Hey,
only.
I would kill for 12 people. I would kill for.
Oh my
Oh
gosh.
man.
It is a weird industry because of course on social media, especially amongst comics, like and for
Mhm.
listeners who aren't like in the comedy world and all of that, they just see people posting all the highlights and like really heavy rooms, which
Yeah.
by the way, those of you guys who aren't in comedy, I want you to know that every room, however many people you're seeing, that we cropped that so that it looked as full as possible. The reason it's
Yeah.
not further back is because as soon as the edge of that picture is, no one is there.
Yeah.
Because that it's marketing and you don't want to make people think that it's not a good time and all of that, and it is a weird business. And so we have a lot of educators that
Hmm.
listen to the show, and I think that one of the ways we could hopefully inspire the next generation of writers and comics is through comedy because
Yeah.
number one, I think like the social critique that comedy allows for us to have in
Hmm.
a lot of different spaces, I think it's so incredibly powerful.
Yeah.
And I think also there is kind of a perception that the only way someone can be successful within the comedy world or within entertainment is through being very, very profane. Um, and obviously you tour with Nate. I don't are you now do you work clean
I'm
pretty exclusively or just
I'm
when you're with Nate?
exclusively clean.
So that was actually the question I was introing before I started glazing you. Was uh, you work clean? Is there a point in time where you can remember like, okay, I guess like did you choose to work clean or did clean kind of like pick you in a way? Like I know we both have worked with Zoltan Kazas, and I've heard
Love
him say
Zoltan.
Zoltan's the man. I've heard him say like kind of reference his dry bar as being like,
Yes.
oh, I guess I do clean now. Do you have something like that, or is that just your goal from the beginning? Because clean comedy gets work.
Profane for me is just not the same as what is profane. But that's the thing. It's such a suggestive because I would say it's easier to be marked a dirty comic than it is a clean comic because everyone's definition of dirty is much more easily identified than clean.
Yeah.
Because what's clean for me might be different for Andrea, might be different for Gerry. But then there's obviously the obvious principles of that. I tried I had like a couple of basically that I wasn't getting any action jokes. So that was
Okay.
the closest I got to being dirty. And they weren't working. I think the audience, if you listen, and that's sort of what Zoltan's saying, if you listen, the audience is telling you who you are. They're
Yeah.
like, I don't buy that. You don't have to give me that. But then this thing about over here, that resonates and that seems like you to us. Give us more of this. If you're paying attention. And then I was obsessed with late night. All I've ever wanted to do, is late night. And, I've been lucky enough to do it a couple times and I watched late night still. And it's just one of my favorite forms of ingesting stand up. And it's always clean. So I would watch it a lot as a kid. And that just kind of, I think, informed my writing, a lot. And then I realized dirty comics had to change their jokes for that late night set. And why would I tell a joke 200 times one way, and then for the biggest platform it's going to get, change it for one time? Why would I mess with the math there? And then also, I don't swear much in my regular life, and when I do, I'm in severe pain or anger. It's not amusing. Uh, and then uh, I have friends that are amazing dirty comics. I cannot do what they do, and I'm getting to a place, thanks to therapy, where I can say they can't do what I do.
Yeah, it's actually kind of funny because my parents love clean comedy. They don't like anything how they would describe as crass. My comedy is not 100% clean. I have because I'm a high school teacher is what I did for most of my career, and so I'm usually telling stories about stuff like that.
Of
And
course.
so I told my parents they could not come to any of my shows for my first few because I had to figure out like what am I okay with saying? What is my also like just how I like standing up in front of a group of people and telling them anything about yourself personally feels very vulnerable. And if you're doing it for the laugh and it's a good joke and it's well formed and stuff, then that's great. But if I know my dad is sitting in the back, that is going to interfere with whether or not I feel like I'm comfortable with telling the joke to a bunch of strangers. Um, but I have to tell you, when I first started comedy, the amount of and my parents listen to this podcast religiously. So hi mom and dad. The amount of the amount of articles that my dad sent to me about Nate Bargatze, um, and how good he is, and Leanne Morgan, and how good they are, and how
Oh, so
clean they
good.
are. And like, do you see that that's where the money is, Andrea? And if you didn't have to, you don't have to be crass to make all of the money. And I'm like, okay, I get it.
Yeah.
So for a long time, and I like Nate's stuff. I think he's hilarious, and he just genuinely like. I'm rooting for it, and I'm somebody who roots for like all the comics. Like I don't
Yeah.
see it as a zero sum game.
I
And
don't
so
either.
right, and so
I
I'm
only
like
root for Steven Rogers.
All
that's
right,
it.
hold on.
That's
That's the
it.
ringtone. That's the
There you
ringtone.
Oh my gosh. But yeah, like my parents were just constantly like, "Oh yeah, but like, Nate's Nate's doing pretty well." And I will say that I've been watching this week Funny AF, and one of the things that I noticed with the comics, especially towards the later rounds, is that it seemed like the comics that worked cleaner tended to get better feedback, both from like the audience and from, I mean, the votes. And not that those of you guys who haven't watched it yet, I'm so sorry. But the comic who won was Ron, who's not a clean comic,
Right.
um, but his comedy had variety
Mhm.
and was not one note in a way that allowed, I feel like, the audience to get to know him in a more meaningful way. And I do wonder if with clean comedy, there isn't an element of like you almost are more vulnerable in some ways because you're not relying on like the shock factor or like I feel like sex jokes are like pretty widely like people are going to laugh about stuff like that because it makes them uncomfortable. Um
Yes.
whereas like, I feel like the amount of skill it takes a lot of times to craft, like, just comedy that's fully clean, I think it's harder. I'm having a hard time because I've only been doing comedy now for a little over a year, and
Oh,
so
okay.
I'm very new to this, and
Yeah.
I'm the exact person that again, listeners who are not in the comedy game, comedians really hate influencers who become comics, like, overwhelmingly.
I mean, that says more about the comedian than it does you, because I didn't know this before you said it, but you already, to me, clearly care about comedy and are trying to learn about comedy. You're the change that we'd like to see from the people that have burned us in the past. So
Yeah,
I will say, yes, comedians love to tell someone that they don't belong.
yeah,
And I'm not I'm trying to be the change I want to see in the green room.
yeah.
So we all don't hate influencers, but I love you already. You're great.
Yeah, thanks, thanks. And I when I first started, especially because I started with 20 minutes, doing a comedy show with two other teacher, um, comedians, and then went from that to a full hour, um, immediately, and it was terrifying, and not a good hour, but my best hour I could kind of come up with and working really hard on the craft and everything like that. And on the note of the actual craft of comedy writing and trying to work things in a way that doesn't rely so heavily on like sex for the humor or the shock or anything like that. Is there a process you go through when you write jokes that you find has been beneficial to you? Because I feel like, especially for like teachers who are looking to try and encourage their students to write, knowing kind of the steps they could guide them through could also be helpful.
Yeah. Because I'm clean, I don't think sex jokes are bad. I don't think comics that are doing sex jokes are less than. I know some clean comics do think that. And you look at all of the people that made it to the end of Funny AF and all the people poking holes in their acts, try to follow any of them.
Oh, right.
Try to follow any of them. And,
Yeah.
and it's, you can say whatever you want about their content. It's killing. And you,
Very
ev-
clearly.
everybody can kill with a different arsenal. Do I think when some people are doing sex jokes, it's because they're afraid to get more vulnerable? Yeah, I do. But it's do I think some people are doing sex jokes and that's who they are? Yes. It's all fear. There's so much fear attached to it. The feelings you get from some comedians because you're an influencer that came into the club, they're afraid. It's all fear. Now as far as like writing clean, that was the question, right? I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
like, or like, what are the steps you take when you sit down to write a joke? Do you just like when you're walking around, jot something down that you think is funny, or do you? Because I mean, I've read all of these books now about comedy writing, where it's like you write down categories and then you try and
Mhm.
find stories for each category and all of that. Like, how structured is your process?
My ex used to say that 40, or I forget the percentage, but it was like 50% of my process is coming up with the next process. Uh, because I think it's order and chaos. I really do. I think like your process shouldn't be set in stone. You should be open to there's many ways to come up with a joke. I like to show up and write, but some days it is I'm spiraling on the notebook. Like nothing worth saying on stage is coming out, but I'm emptying my brain. So the rest of the day, observations can happen instead of me going, what, because I wrote on that page earlier that day the anxieties of last night. So now I'm not walking around thinking about those things. So there's journaling that is very helpful for me. A big thing is I'm an emotional guy. So there's the principles I read somewhere. If something changed your mood that day, that's grounds for a premise. And just trusting yourself. AF, you could see how it affected a lot of comedians. And there will be another thing that comes after that that makes a lot of people that do comedy question if they're doing the right thing. And you have to remember that those shows aren't made for comedians, they're made for the general population.
Yeah,
They don't care what it does to you because and they don't care how much you complain about it online. And guess who else didn't do any of that? The people on that show that made it to the end.
yeah,
They showed up and they went to work. So it's like, unfortunately, uh, there is no process that equals X. It's all chaos, but that's what I think is kind of fun about it. Sometimes it's you wake up in the middle of the night and you thought of something, you write it down. Sometimes it's something I said to a friend, and they go, "Hey, you gotta say that." A lot of them that I've noticed in my friends is when they're just saying something they really truly feel, uh, and they're not trying to be funny, but they're saying how they feel. And I think uh, you can build so many jokes around a feeling. And also, I ingest a lot of stand up, and I mean, every app, streaming service has stand up at this point. So it's like you
yeah.
can't not find something to learn from. And also going on stage, I mean, you're still doing hours. I mean, I like to put in a couple of moments that, and Gerry saw it, of I'll prove that I'm good at it. And then I will pull out of my back pocket or whatever, new jokes, and I'll go, "I think I've earned these. Let's find out if these are good." And
Yeah.
sometimes they're literally just one line of a thought, and let's get scared together.
Have you ever wondered what I would say if my mother and my administrators weren't watching every single thing I do on social media? Well, that's exactly what my stand up show is. And I'm going to be coming to a town near you super soon. You can get tickets at educatorandrea.com/tickets. I think that's such solid advice, and especially for the teachers that are sitting there with a group full of like middle or high schoolers who don't know who they are yet, haven't found their voice. I do feel like comedy is such a powerful place to find that,
Yeah.
because sometimes when you hear yourself say something out loud, it does provide a little bit of a, wait, is that actually how I feel and what I believe? And
Yeah.
it does. And comedy is this weird thing where it provides almost too much self-reflection at times,
Yes.
because you become because you are trying to be honest and you're trying to focus in on what you believe and what you think and all of that, and you have to kind of dismiss in
Mhm.
some ways the fact that people are not going to like or agree with what you're saying, because you are saying kind of quiet parts out loud, even in silly ways and with silly topics sometimes. But I think that that's really powerful, because I feel like right now for middle and high schoolers, all they see is people like kind of like shying away from saying things out loud, especially like on a platform
Yeah.
that could offend literally anybody. Like they're so worried about that. And I think that's the beauty of comedy, is it's like one of the places where we still can, if we do it well enough, we can say some wild things on stage
Yes.
sometimes. And you can make like it. Okay, so in Ron's final set for
I have a
Funny
hairless
AF.
cat. Sorry, by the way. My hairless cat is
No,
now
it's
appearing.
it's all right. It's all right. The cat heard you talking about it and was like, "I need
Yeah.
to come by." Um,
Uh,
in Ron's final set, he spent like half of it saying that drunk driving shouldn't be illegal and like going
yes.
into this whole bit. And it was so funny. I was just looking at my husband and I was like, how is he making me laugh at something objectively I'm against? Like
Yes.
like everyone, right? Is like, and he even says at the end, he's like, you guys shouldn't drive, like get drunk and drive your car, obviously. But I mean, I think that's the power of like really good writing and really good charisma and stage presence, is to be able
Absolutely.
to do that.
Like, in that joke, right? He's saying drunk driving should be legal. We know, first of all, we know enough about him because we've seen him in enough episodes. So there's something to be said there. Like,
There's trust.
there's trust. People want to know who you are. People I want to perform in front of are the audiences that are like, show us who you really are. And don't be afraid to show us that, because we actually relate to you more than you think.
Yeah.
And I find that, this happened to me a couple weeks ago. It was one of the best compliments I've ever gotten in stand-up. This woman came up to me and she goes, "I didn't relate to a single thing that you said, and I had the best night." And I was like,
Wow.
"Oh, okay." She's like, I don't like cats. I'm married with kids. She doesn't have anxiety, like all these things. And we came from totally different places, but we still connected. And
Yeah.
I'm still figuring out that, but that's the goal. Is like,
Yeah.
this is who I am. You're making friends if you do it in a certain way. Like, people are coming, like, comedian. I hate that comedians make you feel the way that you reference, but I understand that how they are.
Yeah.
You know, but like,
Yeah.
you are one too. It's like, uh, they're jealous because you figured out how to connect with people before. We only know how to do it from the Notebook. You're like,
Yeah.
I can do it more than one way, and it's like, it's all like, how can we connect by being ourselves? And that's kind of what you were alluding to before, or at least what I took from it, which is like, it is more vulnerable to be clean because you can hide behind the shock and awe of these vulgar or political or anti religion, whatever, you can hide behind a thing that a lot of people already agree with or already feel a
Mhm.
certain way about, and you don't have to show who you are behind it. And it's
Yeah.
like, how long can you do that though?
Yeah.
Uh, we need to know who you are. I feel like you've asked me questions that should have a one-line answer. And
No, this is no, it's really honestly super super fascinating to me because I am still relatively new
yeah,
in this world, and it's funny because, I'm on like what's it, threads or whatever, and I'm on like the comedy threads or whatever, and people have a
that's
lot
what I've
to
been
say.
alluding to this whole time. It's all threads.
Yeah,
I've all
it's all
yeah.
guys, if you want to
It's
see how
all
meme
I've
comedians
it's all I've seen the last couple of days, and it's terrible, and it
awful.
made me, like, rethink certain thoughts I've had watching people's sets or watching the show or whatever. I'm like, "Oh, what? No, I'm not gonna be like that person." Because like, Steve, everybody's system is different for how
Yeah,
kind of going back to the root question is it's like if you're not changing, you're getting left behind. Like if I still wrote jokes the same way that I
Yeah.
did, because I've only been doing it 2.5 years. I haven't been doing it long at all.
This is
And it's like
crazy
if
that
I
you
wrote
guys are youngins. You guys do not carry yourselves like new comedians.
I
You
appreciate it.
doing much better than that.
thank you.
It's like
It's
Uh,
if I
keep
Go ahead,
going. I'm
okay,
Gerry.
sorry.
can you say that again? I think I'm gonna make that my ringtone.
Oh my gosh.
But
Oh, all right.
I've had to change my process. I changed it a little bit today. I went from doing voice memos heavy to always writing in or doing notebook to voice memos. Now I'm back to phone notes. And I'm like, I'm not even using one note anymore. I have like 100 individual notes.
Yeah.
I have three things that aren't related, and then you note. So I'm like, okay, let me start foldering these off. But I also thought about while y'all were talking is, um, given like this is we have a huge audience of teachers who listen to this. The way you're describing how you write your jokes and the way you describe your process that you've been through 13 years of comedy, it's the same thing teaching. Like we are constantly changing how we do things because we're constantly changing with the world around us and the process around us. It's like
Yeah.
if you stick to the one way you were doing something, you lose your connection,
Yeah.
essentially.
I you're right. I'm a lot like a teacher, and all the teachers listening should come and see me live. But it's funny because like in school I was bored out of my mind, but the ones I got along with the most were actually the teachers. Uh and I actually like my math teacher from oh, she's gonna listen. 10th grade, I think. Comes to every show I do when I go home.
Oh wow.
Uh and
Aw.
it's like that's what I felt like when I found stand up. I was like, this is how I was supposed to feel. They just didn't have my subject in school
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
I want to learn everything about this thing. I want to do all the homework. Like this is what it is. And
Yeah.
and that's what this threads thing, man, like it breaks my heart. It really does because like I know most of the people that were on that show, they deserved to be on that show. I was
Yeah.
not on that show, okay? Does that bother me? Anytime you don't get a thing, it makes you feel a little something. But it's like, am I gonna take all this energy and wish comedians like bad luck or less opportunity? I don't understand it. And I do understand it, but you can take that energy and go back to work. And
Yeah.
it's and I don't mean to sound like an old man when I say that. I'm trying to say it with love, which is like,
Yeah.
you know, all the thing you just did on Threads, you know what that was? That was writing.
Yeah.
Maybe, maybe
Crazy idea.
crazy idea.
Yeah.
Go in a different direction with it. And I'm all for people sharing their frustrations, but it's like let's be on the same team. Come
Yeah.
on. And
Yeah.
also, none of the general population cares.
Yeah.
They are it's American Idol. for stand-up.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
just got introduced to, I don't remember how many people did it in total, but like 100 new comedians.
Which is incredible for
It's
all of their careers.
incredible. It's
Yeah.
incredible.
Yeah.
There's only one late night left. They don't even do 100 spots a year. So
Yeah.
that's not fair for you to wish that to that like there you wish it success. There'll be a season 2. Like
Right.
it's
Yes.
I don't understand it. I mean, I'll cop to it in the beginning in the very beginning. So this is before your time when influencers were starting to come into the clubs. All the comedians were doing what they're doing right now that we're talking about. And I remember either a headliner or a club booker saying, yeah, but then people come to see them. They have a good time. They come to more shows.
Yeah.
And it's the rising tide lifts all boats
Yeah. Right,
thing.
exactly. And I think one of the biggest things that, because I've talked to lots of comedy friends about all of this, where I'm like, it is interesting because coming from the influencer world into comedy
Hmm.
clubs, I had to write jokes every single day and
Hmm.
post them every
Hmm.
single day and
Hmm.
get immediate feedback. If it bombed, it wasn't good and no one ever saw it.
Yeah.
And if it was good, I would lean more into that for my next content. And so, although I wasn't writing jokes and doing, like a couple minute sets here and there, I was writing jokes every single day, getting
Yes.
immediate feedback, building a relationship with an audience. And here's the thing that really bothers me because again, I wish success to all the comics that I meet. I'm like,
Hmm.
great, good job, great set. I always want them to do well. Um, and so, when they then act annoyed that I am able to headline without the millions of open mics and all of that, I am then baffled when I look and I see that they don't post anything online. They are not doing anything. And I'm like, the internet is for free.
Yeah.
It's free. We actually back in like when Seinfeld was coming up, when all of these like icons of comedy were coming up, the only option they had was hit open mics over and over and hope that people who liked them and were in their world and saw the world in a way that they could connect with happened to be in the club that night or were comedy fans or whatever. And now I'm like, we have an algorithm that tells people this is probably somebody you're going to like. How lucky are we to be able to connect with the comedy
Yeah.
of people in that way? Like, what an absolute waste to not do something. And I'm not even saying like post your content online
Hmm.
because I know people get really worried about burning their jokes and all of that. But like, then do something like slightly different. Do a skit, do a whatever. And then you're connecting with people and building an audience that
Hmm.
is going to be rooting for you. Because that is, I think, easily the thing that has helped me want to come back is like my first couple times, like my second time was so bad, but people were rooting for me and you could feel it because they came to see us because they'd spent the past 3 years seeing me every day. And so even if a joke didn't like totally land, it was such a gentle place to start comedy because they wanted to see me succeed. And then I've
Yeah.
been in rooms that cared far less and I learned more lessons in those. and
Yeah.
but like that's huge. And so I've never understood um from the perspective of the comics who are doing 5 open mics a night sometimes and then won't sit down and post a single thing online to get
Yeah.
like build their online presence because I feel like these days that's kind of the way that we're able to blow up. I mean, good grief, like Matt Rife and like all of those others that just blew up like after years and years and years of practice, it
Yeah.
was like one post that he did and then all of a sudden blew up.
I know for me has been given that I'm not even 3 years into this, it's been unique because I feel like in a way, new comics are like little kids. It's like when you see the grown-ups that you respect and look up to saying a certain thing, you're gonna be like, I agree with them. I'm gonna
Yeah.
repeat that.
Yeah.
And I've done that with the social media comedy before. And then having to also step back because I mean, me and Andrea have had conversations around it. Opened my eyes to doing it. Working with Andrea and Phil and Gasper has changed the trajectory of what I'm on because y'all pushed me into starting to post. And um, and
Because we
seeing
sat in a
like
green room with Gerry for 10 minutes and we're like, you should be recording this, Gerry. You see,
yeah,
you had a green room experience with Gerry, right? So you've
I have.
actually, yeah.
Well, we
And
we we were at a club that had.
Steven, you and Andrea didn't get the same green room experience.
were you better behaved with him, Gerry?
Yes. I just sat
Yeah.
there and listened. I was like, yeah. I was
You
just,
just
but it's like now it's like I've worked with people now in that field people who have done stand up and the content elevated them to be able to take their stand up to a new platform. I've worked now with people who have started in content creation and then went into stand up, and it's all this like they're if why not do it? You know,
Yeah,
like if you um have that audience and you have that passion for it, it's like do it and do whatever you gotta do to get there. I don't know if that makes sense or if that
it makes
sounds right,
no.
but it's like I now and I text Andrea probably every day about some. I'm like, I was texting her yesterday about Andrea. Should I change my profile picture? She's like, dude, it doesn't matter. It's like, okay, cool.
he's like, I don't
Which
know
I
if I should.
texted
I've
you
really
because
been going back and forth.
last time I was with you in Columbus showing you pictures. And you're like, don't do that. So that's why I texted you. And Andrea was just like, dude, I don't care if you change your profile. I'm like, all right, man. I thought,
I was like,
but
you're really overthinking this. It's not that serious, but
Well, I mean, at the risk of, I don't have a podcast where I can learn from you, so I'm gonna do it at your own podcast. But, it is me. But what would you say to comics that have to get to that way of thinking? Now, I post, and whatever I'm posting, I don't know how to get into the algorithm, but it ain't going in there. But, like, I only know how to be, stand-up. So I
yeah,
don't know what to give people other than that part of me.
yeah,
And I want the people to feel like they do when they see you, which is, uh, this is a comedian I want to go see, but this is also a friend. And
yeah,
it's like very like I know I've come to that way of thinking of like this is something I would like to do, but every time I put a phone in my face, I gotta look at me and I'm like, "This isn't what you do." And
yeah,
and not from a point of pride, but from a point of like, you don't know what you're doing. And
yeah.
it's a strange, way of writing.
Yeah, and it's also incredibly humbling because just like when I sat down to write jokes for the first time to actually do a comedy set, I had to accept the fact I was not going to be very good at first, and you have
Mhm.
to let it suck. And it's the same way with doing videos online is just accepting the fact that like it's probably going to suck. It's
Yeah.
it's awful watching your own face for I would say the first few months
Mhm.
just staring at your own face, and it just is a bit of a nightmare.
Mhm.
But the one good thing with creating videos online is your worst videos are likely going to be seen by so few people
Yeah.
because no one's going to like them. And so the embarrassment is kind of minimized because until you start creating stuff that resonates, not that many people are going to see it.
Right.
So that part was really helpful. There is a comedian who, oh my gosh, I want to look up his name because I am very jealous of what he is doing right now. Derek Cahill, do you know him?
I know that
He
name. Now I
I
gotta
know of
do it.
him.
Okay, so he does a series on his Facebook and on his Instagram that's called Fuck This House. And it is just him doing DIY projects around his house. It is so funny. And he's just narrating the normal frustrations of having a house and doing home repair and all of that stuff. So it's stuff he's already doing,
Yeah.
but he's talking in a way that is so funny that, like, makes me feel like I know him, makes me feel like I wanna see his stand-up because if he's this funny when he's doing something as monotonous as, like, fixing a drain in his backyard,
Yeah.
his set is probably hilarious. And
Right.
so, I think that is one of the things is just figuring out something you're doing anyways that you're comfortable with sharing with the outside world, um, that is gonna be somewhat relatable, which I think the more touring comic you are, the harder it gets
Yeah.
because it's so much hotel and airline and all of that. Um, but it could just be like going and finding like the best pizza in each town or something
Mm.
that is like a consistent topic that you can go back to where people will be
Yeah.
like, oh, I want to see it if they do it again.
Finally, a way
And
to write off my pizza eating.
exactly. Yeah, honestly. And the amount of things that are a business expense if you're a content creator grows exponentially as well, which is helpful. So, figure out what you want to buy anyways, and then create content around that. It's
Yeah,
the way to do it.
it's like, he already made himself present, but
Yeah.
this guy's my wife, and so is
Yeah.
his less social sister. And it's like every time I go to do something with them, I'm like, it I know that it's like, I bet you hairless cat, just doing a bit with my hairless cat's face right against mine would do great. And then I'm like,
Yes.
or I could just sit and hang out with my cat. It's hard. It's hard. It's very
Yeah.
hard. So
It
I
is.
have all the respect for people that figure it out.
Yeah, and I think that is part of the thing that stops a lot of comics from doing the online stuff is it's a
Sure.
completely different skill set.
It's
It
so
is.
different.
Like, it's so different and it's so uncomfortable, and like you said, so much of criticism, especially within the comedian world, is fear. And it's like,
Mhm,
I don't wanna go and embarrass myself and look stupid. Instead, I'm gonna act like I'm too good to do those things,
mhm.
and because I'm doing the real work and I'm doing open mics, which, by the way, is insanely hard work and time consuming and time away from family and kids and all of that.
Yep.
Um, which is why I don't do a whole lot of or have never actually done an open mic.
Keep the
Because
streak alive.
well, number one, I've talked to my comedian friends and they're like, you get to try stuff because you're headlining and you're doing an hour. So that is incredibly beneficial. The amount of open mics people have to cobble together to get a solid hour is kind of insane. And like I practice and I take it, very seriously, but also I'm like, I have small kids. Like, I'm not gonna go down and do an open mic 3 times a week and miss out on time with my kids. Um, but yeah, I think that's a really big part of it is, like, for comedians, it's like that's a different skill set. I don't want to focus my energy on that, but I do feel like in these days it is really hard to not do something with it at least if you
Yeah,
wanna build a platform.
I completely agree. And there's ways to you can find out ways. Like, for some reason, me just posting the threads that I liked that I did this week all at once, people love it, or at
Yeah,
least that's the stuff that people are paying attention to that I do. And it's like,
yeah,
you can figure it out. And I like what you said is like, where is your energy going? Because it really is that. I mean, agreed. And I know that you've already had this thought. Your friends are going, well, you're headlining, you can just sneak in jokes that way, but you care about your show, so you're like, well, that is only so many new jokes I can do. But
yeah,
it's like not a unique to me thing to be like, hey, I've got kids, I've got a life. I haven't been able to try these jokes. Are we cool with me doing a couple new jokes and making it a segment of your show?
yeah,
It's like we're just saying back and forth. I'm only realizing it now. It's like, and to what you were referencing before, Jerry, it's like you look at the way everybody does it, and you think that's how I have to do it. And
yeah,
and it's like you can learn from how they do it, but they don't. Everyone has a different life, so it's like
yeah.
there's so many. Uh, it's really just taking a little bit from everybody on how they do things and making it your own.
Yeah. And I am on team you creating cat content because I think that that is something the internet would love
Yeah,
is
probably. I
sharing your
mean,
cats with the world,
they're already my merch. I might as well make them my my social media.
I
especially
still
because
have your
you
cat pen somewhere.
Oh, nice.
yeah, and especially if they're part of your set, like, people are gonna get beyond excited to see, like, the stars that they've
Yeah.
heard about before, like, on your page and stuff. That'd be amazing. Okay, well, we are gonna let you go, but before we do, I would love to hear where people can come find you and come buy tickets and come see your show and all of that
Yeah.
good stuff.
I would love for them to find me too. Uh, um, please follow me on it's Steven Rogers Comedy on all the socials. That's Steven Rogers. It's StevenRogers, same as Captain America. I have specials on YouTube. Before he was super, and then the latest Nate Land one is half of We. And then I'm recording my next one theoretically in New York City. It's looking like December 5th, but just follow me, go on my website, you'll see all that stuff. And if you live in New York, please, for the love of God, come. Or New York's great in December, just come.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm on tour all the time, StephenRogersComedy.com.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Gerry, do you have any shows coming up that you want to shout out?
Nothing. I do, but I don't know if it's nothing that's gonna move the needle if I promote it here.
Nothing. Wow.
Rob, how many listeners do we have in Sanford, North Carolina? Like,
Hey, all of them. All of them. Listen.
All right, I got to change my special recording to Sanford.
There you go. Exactly. Exactly. Well, I will shout out the fact I have a show June 6th in Batavia. Batavia? I don't know.
Batavia.
Thank you. Batavia at the Comedy Vault. They just added it and it's only a month away. So hopefully more than 12 is what we're going for.
That's a lot of I'm near where I'm from. So I'll send
Nice.
yeah.
Yeah,
I'll try to send
let
people
everybody
your way.
know. It'll be a good time. And then I've got a show in Terre Haute, Indiana in July, and then San Diego in August. So you
Nice.
guys can check out my tickets, educatorandrea.com/tickets.
Oh, I forgot to do one other plug. I'm sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
It's not a clean podcast because my other two co-hosts are not clean comedians, but it's a very fun podcast. It's called He He He. I do it with Peter Wong and Taylor Yarish. It's just
Nice.
three best friends being idiots. If you like that stuff, check it out. Warning, it is
Awesome.
not clean.
That's
They are
good.
not clean.
Mom, Dad, that one's not for you.
Yeah,
You're not going to be a fan of that one. All right, awesome. And guys, if you have any thoughts about what we chatted about today or any questions, you can contact me, Andrea at human-content.com, or you can contact me at educatorandrea, or you can contact the whole Human Content Podcast family on Instagram and TikTok at Human Content Pods. And thank you so much for those of you guys who have left reviews. And if you want to catch those full video episodes, they're up every week on YouTube at Educator Andrea. Thank you so much for listening. I'm your host, Andrea Forkum.
I'm Gerry Patoka.
And our guest today was Stephen Rogers. Our executive producers are Andrea Forkum, Aaron Corney, Rob Goldman, and Shanti Brooke. Our editor is Andrew Sims. Our engineer is Jason Portizo. Our music is by Omer Bensby. To learn more about How to Survive the Classroom's program, disclaimer, and ethics policy, and submission, verification, and licensing terms, you can go to podcasterandrea.com. How to Survive the Classroom is a Human Content production.
How to survive the classroom.
Thank you so much for watching. Want more of How to Survive the Classroom? You can watch more episodes right now. Just click on that little box over there. You see it? And if you haven't yet, please subscribe. Okay, bye.